Hey everybody, it's Galmadex, and welcome back to another premiere draft of Amonkhet Remastered. Without further ado, let's just get into the pack one pick one. We've got another sweet rare today. Vizier of Many Faces is two clones on one spell. You get to cast this and copy the best creature on board, and then you get to do it again from your graveyard later. So a really nice 2-for-1. It's just the best two creatures on board, so take Vizier of Many Faces here and be pretty happy with that. But the uncommons are pretty good as well. Censor is a flexible little counterspell. It's a counterspell in the early game, and you cycle it late game when your opponent's going to be able to afford to pay the one anyway. And then start to finish is really nice in Orzhov when you can cast both halves of this, get your 1/1s, and then sack one of them to destroy whatever you need. So you end up a soldier there while killing their best card. So cool stuff in the pack, but pretty easy place to start with a Vizier of Many Faces. And for pick 2, we have a really simple follow-up. We can just take another blue rare. 3 mana for a 3/1 flash flyer. That's just good up front. And it has extra flexibility where you can cycle it and counter an activated or triggered ability if you want to do that instead. Usually you're just going to flash in the flyer, but that's pretty great all by itself. So grab the Obstructionist here. Pick number 3, that is a late Pride Sovereign. That card's absurd. Two players didn't want to play around with that. I mean, the safest pick is Sunset Pyramid here, because you can play this in literally any deck, and it's going to be good card draw. It's at least 3 cards drawn off this thing, and then you get to scry a bunch after that. But Pride Sovereign's kind of absurd. Get 2 1/1s with a lifelink every couple turns. Plus, it's just like a massive blocker. The first time you exert it, it's blocking as a 4/4, and you're tapping it after blocking. And yeah, this card's really good. I mean, the only thing that kind of sucks about it is we do have to be green and white. You would not play this thing without the ability to exert it. So we'll have to do 3 color here or ditch the blue. But the card is so strong, it's definitely worth the speculation here to maybe head in that direction instead. And for pick 4, Riddle Form is like fine in a super non-creature heavy deck, but I'm not super high on it. We have all creatures so far. I think I'm just going to take Desert of the Indomitable, honestly. The deserts are pretty high picks. On-color deserts are, because they just replace your basic lands to make sure that you flood out a lot less often, and there's plenty of cards that actually get better when you have deserts on board or in your graveyard. So deserts are pretty great when there's nothing really standing out in the pack. Pick number 5, well, some pretty great blue still. The green's kind of filler, so not so sure how the Pride Sovereign's working out, but still early in the draft. Vizier of Tumbling Sands, Striped Riverwinder, and Unquenchable Thirst would all be pretty great cards. This can ramp you up, plus it has that flexible cycling. This is a nice late game threat. The hexproof is massive on it, and you can cycle it if it's in your opening hand, because obviously you don't want a 7-drop in your opener. And then Unquenchable Thirst is your blue removal for the set. Keep something tapped down. Ideally, you have some deserts so you can tap when you play this card, which makes it even better. But I'm going to go for the Vizier here. I think it plays really well in the green-blue deck specifically. That's where I would hope to be, since we do have the Pride Sovereign. And green-blue has like a lot of really big plays to be able to ramp into. Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs or Heckma Sentinels are pretty fine here. Go for a cycling build or just a nice controlling build. Use these walls to ping your opponent a bunch as you've got a desert in the grave. I'm going to go for the wall, I think. Fits into our deck no matter what color we play as fine filler. And in some decks it actually plays really well if you're really slow and grindy. Pick 7, pretty meh. Honestly, Desert of the Glorified might be the best card, even though we're not in black. Feral Prowler's probably the better filler creature here. You just trump with it, draw a card later. Hooded Brawler's just not very exciting. Sixth Sense, these kind of cards are a little too easy to get 2-for-1 with. And then Reason to Believe doesn't actually really do much. You have to cast both halves of the card to set up something on top and then play it for free, but you've spent 6 mana total to do that, so unless you're finding a creature that costs more than 6, you didn't even get like a full card's worth of value anyway. Alright, this Oasis Ritualist pick 8 makes me a little happier to be in green. This is going to fix us for the white mana we need for Pride Sovereign, so we can splash that exert ability in, but it's also going to fix us for literally anything. The fact that we can exert this for 2 mana of any one color means this just puts you on turbo mode when it comes to ramping out like 7 and 8 drops. If you find any of those, thing goes crazy. Love me an Oasis Ritualist. Pick 9. Get pretty controlling, pretty slow with another wall here, although these probably go pretty dang late. I also like countervailing winds. I think I'll take the winds here, be a weird like blue-green control ramp deck. Just sit on my butt most of the game until I ramp into something giant. But a lot of our cards are pretty decent at doing already. There's not much here. 2 deserts of the glorified when I'm not in black at all is sad. But there was like nothing else to draft there except other off-color cards anyway. We're not that deep into green. We could still end up being the blue-black cycling deck, which is one of the stronger archetypes in the set. So if that is open, we'll go for it. Beneath the Sands is fine. Ramp and fixing. Destined to lead also fine in black-green. Take Beneath the Sands. Nothing here. And a Quarry Hauler. Quarry Hauler is like really cute because there's -1/-1 counters in the format, so you can play this and remove a -1/-1 counter from one of your card. Or you can play it and put another -1/-1 counter on somebody else's card, or like you can put a brick counter on something. It's pretty goofy. But it's not the craziest. So what do we got? Pack 2, pick 1. Probably just take the big flyer. Flying threats play really well in the format, and cycling and discarding cards is really nice as well. Mainly just the cycling mechanic in general. There's plenty of good cards with cycling. So anything that triggers when you cycle plays really well. So Sphinx does a lot of work. Alternatively, we can pivot to blue-black control and just take the board wipe because we do already have double desert in that direction. But I'm just going to stick really deep to blue with the pretty powerful Ominous Sphinx here. Ooh, Coco. Collected Company. You do need a lot of creatures of mana value 3 or less in your deck for this card, so you really need to draft around it and build around it. I don't think we're in a great spot for it right now. Mana value 3 or less. Like 5 here. Spring to Mind is just always good in these green-blue decks. Fixes you and then draws you extra cards. It's like a 3-for-1 overtime. I think I'm just going to take the Spring to Mind here. Because like we're in a color pair that's going to do a lot of ramping and stuff, so I'm likely to just get a bunch more higher mana value creatures that I can't even put on the board with Collected Company. But this has got to be great in like green-red and green-white. Some Gruul, Selesnya aggro nonsense. That's just not where we're at here. Well, we found another 3-drop anyway, just a 3-mana 4/3, none of our stuff can get countered. That's pretty efficient, but honestly, Labyrinth Guardian's probably better. 2 mana for a 2/3 and 4 mana for a 2/3, all on one card. The Embalm ability really putting in a lot of work for it. Yeah, actually just like the 2-for-1 better. Can trade that off twice. Can hold off 2/2s forever. Feels pretty good. Pick 4. Splash in a Deemworthy. Can cycle this to draw a card and kill a 2 toughness or less creature. It's really good when you cycle it. Alternatively, we take another Countervailing Winds, but we need to get some more cycling cards and instants and sorcery stuff to fill our grave with for this to actually work and actually counter things. I'm on 1 Oasis Ritualist, 1 Spring, 1 Beneath the Sands. I feel like Deemworthy is probably splashable here. And more likely to be more consistent because we don't need anything in grave or anything for that. Splash the Deemworthy. Another green desert. Ooh, I could also play the Ipnu Rivulet. Helps a lot if you can get a lot of other deserts. Then you just have a mill win condition as well. If you play it grindy enough, a long enough game, you can mill people out. I'll go for the Rivulet. There's an Essence Scatter, very good counter spell. Take it over Beneath the Sands, not much else. Green-blue control. Honestly, not that green. Blue control splashing a bunch of colors. Five green cards, one red card, a million blue. Geez, pick 7 Ominous Sphinx? Don't mind if I do. Sorry, Essence Scatter copy number 2, but here's another finisher. Pretty happy to be in blue. That is for certain. Even Wind Guide, if I pivot to white, feels late for that. Just take the Cartouche of Knowledge. Or a Beneath the Sands. I'll grab the Cartouche. It's going to play really nicely if we get any trials. Those are the enchantments you can pick up every time you play a Cartouche. A little more ramp seems good with the Vitalist. Or the Sandworm to ramp into and to cycle early. My curve stops at 5 mana right now. Let's actually just get some random nonsense to ramp into. Let's grab the Sandworm. Another Cartouche Knowledge. I mean, the card's really good. Draw a card +1/+1 flying. If you have any trials, it goes insane. I'm going to take it over Evolving Wilds, even with a red splash. Ooh, pick 11 Striped Riverwinder. There's another finisher to ramp into. It's the super nice thing about the color pair as well is that it just has commons you can ramp into, and they all have cycling as well. So if you don't have the ramp to get to them, you just cycle them away. Draw your cheaper cards first. Slitherblade Keen Sense is a cute combo to try to pull off at some point. But you can still get 2 for 1 pretty bad. Okay, pack 3, pick number 1. If we saw Shadowstorm Vizier earlier in the draft, we probably would have been blue-black cycling and never looked back, but we didn't see it till pack 3, so we don't get to be blue-black cycling here. Pretty locked in on the blue-green, splashy deck. Could take a new Perspectives. 6 mana, draw 3. It's not that good. That's a lot of mana to just draw 3. I mean, I'm just taking a desert then, but I mean, we want a lot of deserts to go with the Rivulet and just to cycle in general. Pick one a desert, so be it. 2, another Riverwinder looks good. Deadlands is also great, but that requires a lot of black mana. Grab our Riverwinder. Three. Majestic Mirror's actually pretty good. It's like really big and it gets all the abilities of everything else you have. But we have 2 Cartouches, and pretty much any trial is insane with Cartouches. So play this, you get to draw 3, discard 1. That's just Sift for 4 mana. That's just a good 4 mana sorcery speed draw spell, and then you get to recast it a couple times sometimes, which is wildly good. So I'm just going to take the trial. Another Riverwinder. Honestly, I don't think I need to draft ramp stuff that highly, considering everything we're ramping into can just cycle away. Excuse me, can just cycle away anyway. And we have things that trigger when we cycle, like the Sphinxes and the Heckma Sentinels, so I'm just going to take Riverwinder over the Beneath the Sands. Just kind of use our ramp cards to fix us into red for the Deemworthy. I'm going to take a Heckma Sentinels over Cultivate. This is like my least favorite of the ramp cards. Like, Beneath the Sands is already pushing it a little bit. Spring to Mind's actually quite good because you ramp and then you also draw the cards. But I really like the creatures that tap for mana, or like the 2 for 1 ramp. Beneath the Sands don't love, and then Cultivator's just like the worst of both worlds. Alright, Desert of the Mindfold, come on in. The Mindfold. Desert of the Mindful. Our Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs is going so ham. Sunset Pyramid, pick 7 is criminal. But maybe I'm supposed to take Winds of Rebuke because we don't have a lot of interaction here. Too bad. I want to show off Sunset Pyramid. Card is good. Okay, I don't think we're a Slitherblade deck. We have 31 cards, 4 of which are lands. So, 27 non-land cards right now. Here's 26 non-land cards. Sorry, 25, 24. Gotta cut one of my non-land, non-creature cards too. Shoot, I don't really have room to cut something. I guess I could cut it beneath the Sands. Dang. Let's start dropping Sentinels. Probably not playing any of these. Okay, this is 22 non-land cards. I overcut here. Perfect. I'll just put this Sentinels back in, keep the other 2 aside. Yeah, we've got a deck. We're just going to run 1 Mountain, 1 Plains, double Ritualist. Beautiful pick 11 Ritualist, by the way. That actually saved us a lot on the mana stuff going on. I'm super happy to see that. Yeah. Just going to play all of these cards, minus the Heckma Sentinels. And run 1 Mountain and 1 Plains, bunch of forests and islands, and have our deck at the ready. All right. The deck has built itself. Let's just hop right into the gameplay. All right, here we are on the play for game number 1 with a beautiful hand. We get to start it off nice and early with Guardian into Obstructionist and then ramp into the Spring to Mind, which if nothing else ramps into Mind to put us up a few cards. Playing against a white deck, we naturally hit the red source, and I don't even have to feel bad about casting Spring for an island. It's the only color we're missing is white. There's only 1 white card in the deck. So the Labyrinth Guardian, what makes it so good is that, like, sure, it has the downside whenever it's targeted by a spell, you sack it. But it's like if they spend a spell to kill it, even if it's a combat trick or something that they target it with, you're up a card because this is a 2 for 1. It just comes back from the grave. And they might have to spend something else to kill it. I think we're racing here since we're on the play. Jam for 2, drop the 3/1 flyer. I don't think I hold this back to force the exert or anything. We can threaten to start hitting for 5 a turn on the board. Crypt of the Eternals, the blue-black-red land. I was expecting blue-white and bomb nonsense, and then here's the black and red source, so I no longer know what's going on. Certainly cycle that desert later, but I imagine we're on spring this turn. So I can cast Mind next. If they are a black enough deck to be running the Splendid Agony removal spell, that could be terrible here. I clicked through my second main phase. That's embarrassing. I can still cycle the desert, so it's not the end of the world, but now I'm not casting Mind next turn. I just click spacebar too many times. This happens every time I use spacebar to skip through phases. I gotta stop doing that. It always gets me got. Ah, there's what I'm doing with the other 2 mana. I preemptive. I saw with my third eye. Okay, that is really good for me that they spend removal on Guardian for me to just recast next turn. Ooh, never mind. Wait, I don't actually have the blue mana for that. If I don't top deck the island, then we're playing Guardian. Okay. Playing Guardian. I guess actually just Spring to get the blue source is really big now because it gets to Sphinx and to Mind. Or I play Ritualist, and then they have to use removal on Ritualist, and if they don't, that's also the blue source I need. That's the thing, too. I'll play the Ritualist, because that also holds the Gust Walker off if they don't exert it to give it flying. Nice, slow, chill game going on here. Shimmer Scale Drake, 3/4 flyer is the play. Exert on over for 3, we're down to 15. Naturally draw that blue source, so now I can drop the Sphinx. Hold up a cycling ability for a surprise -2/-0 if it matters. Probably doesn't, but I also don't really want to exert the Ritualist right now, just to play Spring. Haven Initiate. 2 for 1, which is a problem if they get through my 4/4. Hello, Deemworthy. It's pretty good. Can Spring and still hold up Deemworthy? We just cycle that and kill the Gust Walker, right? We're at 14, we're at 15. We actually might be outracing them here with attacks. Well, this is going to be groovy. They don't have a pretty good trick. By pretty good, I actually mean really good, because we're also reducing the power. Ooh, a second Ominous Sphinx with a Cycler in hand? That's going to be kind of nasty. -4/-0 whenever we cycle something. Alright, Riverwinder's on the ground. We can fly right over that. Trial of Knowledge is kind of spicy. But I can't afford to not play this Sphinx. Because then I just have lethal next turn if I can get the flyers out of the way. It only untaps a permanent when you cycle it. So I can't tap a flying blocker with that. I kind of want to Trial of Knowledge then. So I can try to find a path, something that clears a path for the Double Sphinx. Well, I guess the Double Sphinx isn't lethal, because I'm really bad at math. It's 8 damage. Still pretty dang good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. Do 8 mana. Go Guardian. I don't actually think the land is hitting anything for us. Okay, if I didn't have to exert the Ritualist there, this Cartouche would have been drawing into lethal if they don't have a flying blocker. So now we need to make the Labyrinth Guardian as a chump blocker. Let's probably make that and the Vizier. Speaking of Viziers, there's the Vizier of the Anointed. Bold move to not play one of the Flyers, though. Really bold move to not play one of the Flyers, alright. Okay, this Vizier of Tumbling Sands is going to go a really long way for us. It's kind of the only reason we can afford to do this. I'm actually going to play Ritualist over Guardian because I can cast a Cartouche of Knowledge on this later. Cannot cast a Cartouche of Knowledge on Labyrinth Guardian. Alright, so we chump block the Riverwinder with the Ritualist, and we -2, -0 two of their cards, and untap an Ominous Sphinx to block with that as well. We have 2 blockers up. We're giving 2 creatures -2, -0. Okay. Yeah, that's their whole hand. They're out of cards. Yeah, they're dead. They're super dead for sure. With Vizier shenanigans. Actually, the Dunes might force us to lose a Sphinx here, but we still survive because we can chump Riverwinder with the Sphinx. Or I could untap Ritualist instead and chump with that, actually. Yeah, we're fine. Close, though. Well, let's see. Block, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. Or I could just do take 6 this way. And then send in. Let's go double Ominous Sphinx Dream Team. We start things off 1-0 heading into game 2. Alright, here we are for game 2. We're going to sit behind a wall and draw a bunch of cards off a Sunset Pyramid. That is exactly what I want to do, right? Sit on my butt and draw cards. That's what I want to do today. I do play a lot of aggro. Like I'm always this greedy man. But I am today. Sure. Trial of Zeal, as with all the trials, is one of the cards that could completely remove us from the game here. If they were in a draft pod where they could scoop up a bunch of cartouches. If they can recast this more than once, we're just going to lose, because it's going to put them so far ahead. So if they have like 4 cartouches in their deck, that's a massive problem. Only taking 1 on board, so I'm going to hold up Scatter and use Pyramid. rather than playing Ritualist. Can deem worthy that. Fine. Actually happy to see that, so there actually is something we can try to deem worthy. Feels too expensive. I need the lands right now. Oh my god, I need the lands right now. Kind of have to set up the Ritualist here. Gonna need to deem this Eternal soon. Take 3, go to 15. I guess I can just play Labyrinth Guardian. Yeah. Come on, land for turn. Let's go. I'm gonna have an aneurysm, dude. The millisecond I don't hold up scatter. Oh. 1/1 flying haste every time they draw a card. Even if I kill it, it goes back to their hand. Is there anything in my deck that does anything about that? There's literally nothing in my deck that can deal with that. Well, I picked the one turn to not hold up scatter. And so we lose the whole game. That's magic. I could technically play the Ritualist, take a bunch of hits from the Flyers for that turn. Next turn, deem worthy the Locust God to put it back in their hand, then scatter it. But by then they'll have gotten at least like 3 1/1 Flyers alongside it. We'll have taken 2 swings from it before we could kill it. Just not a winnable game. All of the gods in this format are pretty much unbeatable if you don't immediately counter or exile them. And we didn't. So, I'd rather just move on than play out the losing 10 minutes from there. Right. Pyramid down. Edifice of Authority. Let's not do anything yet. If I spring this turn, I'll have 5 mana up next, which still isn't enough to do anything and hold up scatter. I mean, I could Sunset Pyramid and hold up scatter, but I can do that any turn that I'm holding up 2. I'm gonna ramp here. Just do that anyway so that we can, like, Ritualist holding up scatter sooner. Start building up the bricks so they can shut off walkers with the Edifice. Fair. Again, I am 1 mana away from casting something holding up scatter, so I'm just going to hold up the scatter. I guess I could use the pyramid during my main phase and still hold up scatter. It's actually a reasonable option. It's a terrible auto tap, though. Should have tapped Plains Mountain. Yeah, honestly, I don't even know why Auto Tapper would do that with no white or red in the hand at all. Do I have to scatter a 4-3 with this hand? Kind of, actually. Because I just have a 2-4, and that's not even going to block because the Edifice. I guess so. We gotta draw into all our giant cyclers, our 5/5 hexproofs, and our 7/7s. But we've got tons of card draw. I mean, Trial of Knowledge, Cartouche of Knowledge is insanity. Okay, I have no Essence Scatter to hold up anymore, so let's drop the 0-4 and force them to keep edificing this. But let's Trial of Knowledge as well. So I'll do that first. Have more options open. Okay, we found a Deem Worthy. That's going to be sweet. But let's get the wall down. They have the third brick on the edifice now, so they can start doing that. It's the Gravedigger for the Quarry Hauler. Solid value. There's the River Winder, though, and they can't target that with Edifice. It's going to hold off all their attacks. Yeah, it's going to be beautiful. 7 mana. 4, 5, 6. Got to tap out for it here. I just give it flying and actually end the game pretty quick here. 6/6 flying hexproof. As long as I make sure I'm not dying on the crackback, that is an absolute win condition. Oh, Quarry Hauler can harass our Sunset Pyramid. That's pretty rude, but I'm probably not activating it for quite some time because I have Cartouche Trial anyway. I already have another draw 4 going on. Draw 6 because I also have Mind. We just have so much card draw here. Okay. Cartouche, pick up the Trial. Ooh, Vizier to cycle and untap Riverwinder and block and kill the 4/3. It's kind of sick. Untapped land so I can hold up the 4 mana version of Deem Worthy while I do that. That way I can like block and eat a 2/2, and if they respond with a combat trick, I can make sure Riverwinder is still around. Nest of Scarabs. When they put -1/-1 counters on creatures, they get 1/1 insects as well. It's a pretty fun, pretty cool build around. And they are green-black, which is the -1/-1 counter color pair. I guess if they have the combat trick now, they did exert the stalwart, so it's too big to shoot with the Deemworthy anyway, so I might as well try to kill the 4-3. If they have the combat trick, they kill the Riverwinder either way, and we're still, again, like infinitely add-on cards with all this card draw. They don't have the combat trick. They are over it. 6/6 flying hexproof is too big for their nonsense. We are 2-1 heading into game number 4. We are for game 4. Pretty awkward mana. We're going to Beneath the Sands for the blue and then hope Trial of Knowledge finds good lands for us. Rakdos from our opponent. Luckily not that aggressive. Nothing turn 2. There's a 2-1 that can make something unblockable each turn. Here is Trial of Knowledge. Draw 3. No extra blue sources here. The 5th mana honestly isn't even that valuable if it's not blue. I might just discard a forest here and then cycle the desert towards blue. Oh, I guess I haven't played a land this turn. I should. Yeah, I guess I'm just playing the desert then. Right, because we ramped into land 4, so this is the turn for land 5. Perfect draw. Play the wall, hold up Essence Scatter, play an Obstructionist during their end step, and just start going to town. 4 damage a turn, 1 from wall, 3 from Obstructionist. Okay, I'll scatter that though. I mean, it's a great Deem-worthy target, but we don't have red and we don't know when we will. Cartouche Knowledge with the Trial of Knowledge? Let's go, baby. Pretty sick. I'm not really holding up any instants. This is a pretty narrow cycling effect, so I'm just going to play the 4/4 flyer now. If it sticks around for a turn cycle, we can Vizier on it, which will be great. Gravedigger. All right. We get to Vizier the Sphinx. And have the 3 up for Obstructionist. We're going to kill them in the sky really quickly here. If there's anything we learn from this draft, it's that flyers are just straight up good. They're good in most formats. But these Sphinxes have been sick today. Okay. Exile the one that can embalm as well is pretty sad. But we still hit for 7 a turn, which means we kill them in 2 turns of attacks. There's the red source for the Deem-worthy. And let's go ahead and spend the mana to pick up Trial of Knowledge. Unblockable Gravedigger coming in hot. Down to 14. Destroy the Oasis Ritualist. And kill the Obstructionist. That'll keep them alive, barely. We put them to 1 instead of 0 now. Well, 1 instead of negative, whatever it was going to be. It's not bad. Alright, they have to kill Ominous Sphinx and Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs to stick around, and they cannot do that. We are officially 3-1, getting at least a 50-50 run out of this draft. Alright, we're on the play now for Game 5. Got that Labyrinth Guardian into the Obstructionist, into maybe the Sphinx. Sunset Pyramid is kind of a 4-drop. We can play it and draw the card off of it in the same turn with 4 mana. Although, probably play Oasis Ritualist to guarantee the Sphinx instead. Gust Walker, hello there. They can just jump right over the Guardian anyway. If I hold it back, we'll force them to exert, but rather take the aggressive lead from being on the play, especially with a hand that's curving out here. Dauntless Haven. That's a little sad, because I would like to not trade into that. You're late, Scatter. Yeah, I don't know that I'm going to draw into any cycling stuff. Let's just send the demon. The only way I'm not trading into the Haven is if I draw into cycling. Oh wow, no blocks. Real happy to see that. I believe I can take the aggressive lead here. Our opponent does not, if they choose not to block. But the Haven Gustwalker combo is really nice, so that they can exert it on every single attack. Oh boy. The elite is a really big deal. Dumb to stun the Ritualist to hold up Scatter? No, because the Ritualist isn't going to do any blocking anyway. Yeah, the Ritualist literally isn't going to block regardless, so I'm going to exert it to hold up Scatter. It's going to be obvious, but still means their creature's not going to resolve. So the elite buffs the entire board when it exerts, which is the really scary part here. +1/+1 to everybody. Yeah. Here they go. What I would give to have one cycler in my hand to make blocks just a little bit safer. This is 9 damage. They have to find a way to do an extra 4. Oh, it's 10 damage. They need an extra 3. God dang. I think I'm dead to a little bit too many cards to not block here if they only need to do 3 more damage to me. Trial of Zeal, Open Fire. And I'm sure plenty more. Catcher's name would have killed me if I didn't block. Okay. They are at 8. I'm at 4. Oh man, I could spend 4 mana to draw 1 card or 4 mana to draw 3, discard 1. Oh, I need to pay a blue. What am I doing? Oil. Whatever will I do? If I had one of these deserts, I could have cycled with the Sphinx to save it from the trick our opponent had there. I feel like I have to hold Obstructionist to block Gustwalker. Finding Mummy. So one more zombie would tap the Obstructionist anyway. If they have one. If they get another turn, I just lose. Yeah, maybe I had to just go for it here. Well, I guess not necessarily, right? Because if they get another turn, but I've traded into Gustwalker, then they just deal 3 to me and I block on the ground. Yeah, no, they need more cards to kill me here. A very smart attack. Cannot afford to go to 2. Come on, top deck. Oh my god. Well, so if they have the extra 2 damage, they have the extra 2 damage. I just die in this guy now. But they can't tap this blocker. They play around the trick here. And we see if they had the combat trick or the burn all along, in which case I don't think we had any shot. Yeah, there's the preemptive GG from opponent. We're dead. Well, I guess it just means somebody's dead, but it probably means we're dead. All right, here we are for game 6. We are 3-2 right now off of a really close second loss, sadly. I think we played it out about as well as we could. Evolving Wilds, turn 1 from our opponent. Green, red for now. Double Ominous Sphinx, we love to see them. Things are about to get so spooky. Time for some real bad omens. Alright, we're just gonna cast a Sphinx, then cast a Sphinx, and have 3 cycling cards in hand after that. Oh, 4-3 haste. That can outrace double Sphinx, sadly. Do I have a 1-mana cycler? No, they're all 2 mana. Shoot. If I could play a Sphinx and cycle in the same turn, I could kill the crocodile without losing a Sphinx. Oh, there's that struggle anyway. Super efficient. 3 mana to kill my 5-drop is disgusting. Well, this draft might be ending in a bummer, but at least we get to go draft another deck then. Experience some more archetypes. Yeah, this crocodile's just nasty. Probably pretty dead here. We'll see. 1 more removal spell. We're probably out of here because we don't have anything to deal with the crocodile. I guess if I sprung into the green source, I could be trying to get to 7 for Sandworm. Try to block the crocodile with a 7/7. I figured I was going to be pretty likely to just want to cycle it since I had double Sphinx in hand, but obviously that's already starting to look like not the play anymore. Because one of the Sphinxes at least is dead. Oh boy, yeah, they had the Oasis. I didn't even notice there. 7 damage here. They've got a Ramanap Ruins that could randomly kill me too. 5 life. This is 2 damage per desert they sack throughout the game. Ooh, this is sketchy. I can cycle 2 cards and have a counterspell up here. One of the cyclers untaps the Sphinx to block and kill the crocodile. That's going to be the plan. Untap Sphinx to block and kill crocodile, and I have a second cycler to reduce its power even more if the first one isn't enough of a trick to kill it. And I have the counterspell up. I guess I can't afford all 3 because all my cycling costs 2. If I had 7 mana, I could cycle twice and hold up the counterspell. But here I can cycle once and then counter something, or cycle twice. Those are the options. Countervailing Winds is counter unless they pay 3 right now. Yep. Good kill. Clean kill. Oh, but the 1 mana removal? Can't counter that. Yeah, you got it. Oh, I just need to play 1 more desert and we're dead. Because they play a desert, sack that to the ruins, and then they can sack the ruins to itself later. Without the Ominous Sphinx, they likely have time to set that up. Sidewinder, okay, that needs to get countered. That's a trampler. It's the Dean worthy. Man. The millisecond I counter this thing instead of killing it and drawing a card. They're like, here, you can kill it and draw a card. No, it's gone already. It's already gone, Arena. Do this and drop an 0-4 and block, right? Feels like the plan. Find our second green. Beautiful. Get to the Greater Sandworm and the Riverwinder. Maybe we can play enough beef before they play another desert. Because we have the beef in hand. Uh-oh, everybody's got trample now. Yikes. Okay, everybody is just a bunch of 1-power creatures, though, so trample on 1-power creatures doesn't matter much, but every 1 point of damage is huge right now. When I'm at 4. So... God, all my creatures are 7 mana. So I can only have 2 blockers up no matter how I play it. I guess we get the hexproofing blocker then. Yeah, I'm gonna take 1 next turn. I can't play a blocker and a Deem worthy or anything. Shoot. Well, no, they're green-red. They're not going to be able to kill a 7/7. We'll play the bigger one first. Means more damage more quickly. If we get to the point where we get to attack. It's a 2-swing kill. With or without the cartouche, because the wall gets to ping them twice. No! Alright. 3-3. That's magic, baby. Some rough losses on this one for sure, but I think the deck was a little bit awkward. 3-3 is probably a pretty fair record for it. It just hurts to lose the ways that we did. The Locust God, the one turn I didn't hold up Scatter, was probably the most depressing one. But I don't think any of those losses were super fun. Second one was at least like a really close game overall. Alright, yeah. I think this deck's pretty, like, decent. Like, it's fine. It's not incredible or anything, but it's got some really powerful cards, particularly the Ominous Sphinxes, the Vizier, the little cycling nonsense to go with it was great. We never got to use the Pride Sovereign, but I think that card is exceptional and worth the Plains Splash. Yeah, no, I mean, the deck is funky, but you can absolutely pull off these funky, splashy little decks with cards like Oasis Ritualist in particular, but also like Spring to Mind in the format. So I don't think this deck is quite as bad as it looks or as it played out. There's actually a lot of really solid just value in here. Hopefully closer to like a 4-3 or a 5-3 on average, but I don't know. 3-3 is fair enough. That's not horrific for today's draft. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and are interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in the recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.